All right, well, here we are. We're live. It's season 3, episode 2 of the Love Doctor live stream. My guest this week, the fantastic Galadriel Caresse, as well as Wendy Bonbons, the Cosmic Bonbon Productions Experience. And I am here as well. There we are. All right, good. We can see. I Something seems a little off. I'm not sure what it. Oh, somebody has mentioned to me that they're very upset with my the numbering scheme because we're into season 3. Season 1 was fairly long, and then season 2 was only like 19 episodes. Now we're on to season 3. I needed a break, and I thought when we come back from the break that would be a fantastic thing to do. And now I'm just gonna reach over for a bit of a drink tonight. I'm just pouring myself a little bit of the Monkey 47. This is not a sponsored video, but it's a very, very good gin. Well, Galadriel, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm also drinking gin in your honor. So tonight I'm drinking the wonderful bootlegger
Bootlegger.
7 from our friends at Pierre du Nord.
Yeah, Pierre Dunod. Cheers, Sláinte to them. We want to definitely say thank you to them. For people who are tuning in, you can always say hi in the comments as well. I see that we have a few watchers at this point. We're going to be getting to everyone's questions as soon as possible. Wendy, what are you imbibing this evening?
I am drinking some water to keep hydrated.
That's a very smart thing. I've water on standby as well, so just to be good on that one. So welcome everyone to the show. For those who are not familiar, this is the Love Doctor live stream, and we are going to be answering your questions about love, sex, and relationships. Sort of what I do during the live show of the Vaudeville, or wherever you see the Love Doctor live, such as in September 8th. I should check a calendar. In Ottawa for the wonderful at the Laugh Lounge, and it's going to be a night of comedy and burlesque, and I think there's going to be a dating game that I'm supposed to host as well, so it's going to be fun. So say hi if you're watching, and we've got a little bit of that should not be buzzing. There we go. That's going to stop buzzing. I'm hearing my voice echo. If anyone else can tell me that if I'm echoing a lot, please tell me so. It just sort of increased heavily. But we have the questions to start. And Galadriel, I apologize. You are in the hot seat for this first one. My partner really wants me to use toys on him. Poop grosses me out. I'm worried if I see any, I'll vomit. How do I tell him? And Galadriel.
That's a heavy one to start. I think honestly, you probably need to have a discussion because it's necessary for both partners to be really on board when it comes to doing anything. So if you have any concerns, address them, and it doesn't have to be extremely dramatic. It can just be okay, I know that if we're doing anal things, this is something that could happen. What steps can we put in place to try to make sure that it hopefully doesn't happen? And if it does happen, not to get too trite, but literally shit happens. Don't make a big deal out of it. You can clean yourselves up really, really quickly and just move on. It's I understand some people are very, very sensitive when it comes to bodily fluids, but I think it's also important to just realize that some things are normal. Sex is messy. And yet, if you are so afraid of the mess, you might miss out on great experiences. So just definitely have a talk and try to find where your comfort zones overlap, basically.
Nicely answered. Wendy.
Yeah, I think it's amazing what you forget about when you're in the heat of the moment too. I think it's definitely necessary to have a conversation just to let somebody know if you're not vibing something. But give it a try after the conversation. If you're comfortable with it, like I said, you never know. You might not even notice it. You might not see any. It might be an amazing experience. You might love it.
Nicely said. All I would want to ask is, or suggest, is that you research, take enema. Tell your partner write out that you're not a fan of fecal matter, and you don't have to go to say that you're going to vomit or anything like that, saying, I'm really worried about the mess and I don't like that. But suggest that they enema beforehand and not use any too deep reaching toys. So just the shorter toys. Uh, if your partner is looking to have a G spot stimulation, which can feel very nice, it doesn't need to go very far in. And if you don't have a vibrating anal toy, but you do have, say, something like a butt plug and a Hitachi magic wand, you can place the Hitachi magic wand adjacent or on the base of the anal toy, which would give the stimulation in overdrive. We'll say overdrive. Well, yeah, we'll say overdrive. So I hope that answered the question. Does that sound anything I would think we missed there? Oh, take a towel and a wet face cloth beside the bed just in case, so something can be wiped off if it needs to be wiped off. Disinfectant wet ones as well. I think we all have too many of those sitting around our houses at this point. All right, so that question is answered. And all right, the next question is, I'm the obvious expert on this one. How do I open my throat more? How do I practice? It's just like that. It's practice. I've had a friend who was a very big fan of using popsicles to help practice. So just going back there, but I'm not sure if the ice would be like a numbing effect or not. And it is just kind of getting used to it and avoiding the gag reflex, or suppressing the gag reflex, I guess is the better word. That is. Oh, I didn't even go into the big window for that one. So, Galadriel, your answer on that.
I honestly don't know about like practicing on things. I want to say keep practicing on a partner and have fun. I would say also, and it depends, like some people have a very easily triggered gag reflex, some others do not. I think it's also important, like don't push yourself for the sake of pushing yourself because you feel pressured. That this needs to be a baseline. Now, if it's something that you want to keep exploring because you're extremely enthusiastic about it, play with different angles. You can find, and that's what's extremely interesting. Anatomies are so fascinating. We're all like a little bit different. You might find that some angles work really well for you, whereas some others will trigger your gag reflex. So try to avoid those, and try to stick with things that are pleasurable for both yourself and your partner.
Well said.
Yeah, I think the practice is definitely a good one. I'd like to assume that most people have some sort of toys lying around. If you happen to have, a dildo handy, you can practice by yourself if you're worried about being embarrassed. It's okay. If you're really comfortable with your partner, as mentioned, try with your partner. I love that. But yeah, I think definitely just give yourself some time and patience. Don't rush anything because you don't want to hurt yourself and have a bad experience. You want to keep enjoying it and have fun. And as long as it feels good, just keep going.
Boom. I can see we have a bunch of people watching, but no one's saying anything as of yet. So if anyone wants to jump in with a comment, that would be great. I know that we started it with some fairly hardcore questions right away. Just a second. That's what we need to do. Going to be bringing up the next question here. I'm at uni and my organic chemistry prof is DTF, or down to fool around. If I do it, I'll get an A in a hard class I need for med school. If I'm also DTF, is this still wrong? Wendy, you are in the hot seat for this.
I think things can get really messy when you're depending on something such as an intimate relation to get a good mark in a class. I personally don't like letting people have that type of power over me. So I would avoid that personally. I'm just mentally not equipped to deal with that type of situation. I would much rather have a poor mark and have little mental stress concerning another human being, just the mental stress of studying. But you know what? If you are down to fuck anyway, I'm not gonna harm anybody or like say anything negative for being enthusiastic for having sex with somebody, as long as it is consensual. But the added pressure of the power dynamic doesn't sit well with my gut.
I think that's well said. I'd also like to add the uni probably has rules against this. And not that anyone should have, be telling you who you should or shouldn't, other than the other consenting adult. The idea that they have that power over you. I'm also a little leery that you need that class to get into med school, and then you'll be less prepared to get into med school if you've got a grade higher, and it would kind of make your degree a little unethical. And that is my concern in that, because there's a lot of bad doctors out there. We don't need any more.
I agree with what both of you have said. I think it goes because of the power dynamics involved in the situation. It goes way beyond the idea of two consenting adults. It is not illegal, but it's really, really highly unethical. And again, for so many reasons, be them if you're not necessarily going to learn, or if you're going to skip on studying because you can get an A a different way, then you're sort of cheating yourself out of important learning experiences. And you never know, things might turn sour. Do you want to have someone have the power to hold that over your head? I personally would not. So I think these are all things to consider, and it's very, very easy for the person who is in the position of power to just like present this and say, yes, but everyone was consenting. We were consenting adults. But I think in any situation, it's really important to take the time to assess the power differential between the two people involved, to really see if, like, going slightly beyond consent, what's going on there, because it goes a lot further than like two people who are DTF.
I something else has just occurred to me. Would that make your mark fraudulent? Like, if you are a couple years into your degree or into your master's, and this professor gets caught, and they go through all his old emails, etc., and they find out that he's done this with a number of students, would that mean that those students would have to either retake the class or have their undergrads invalidated?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the nature of the fraudulent that activity is that I would worry about as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Somebody just gave us a like as well, so thank you very much. But no one's chatted in comments, so let's get on to the next question. Unless does anyone have anything to add to the statement I made? All right. My boyfriend wants me to wear a strap-on and be the bottom. A lot of pegging questions tonight. But if I'm only comfortable with a strap-on as the top, Galadriel, you get to take this question first. I'll read it again. My boyfriend wants me, a female, to wear a strap-on and be the bottom. But what if I'm only comfortable with a strap-on as a top?
I mean, first off the bat, I'm curious, like, is that a conversation that you had with your partner? Or are you just thinking, like, well, my partner wants me to do this, but I'm not sure if I'm comfortable in these positions, and I have not discussed it with them. So I think that's something that's extremely important to keep in mind. Maybe have a discussion, like explore why you're not comfortable being on the bottom, why that's something that your partner finds compelling, and maybe reach an agreement. Maybe it's something you can try, but decide like, okay, let's try it a little bit. But if if anyone's uncomfortable, we're going to stop right away, and it's going to be cool, and no one will resent anyone, because I think that's a pressure that happens a lot sometimes, sadly, between partners where someone wants to try something and the other one's not sure. And instead of being like, okay, let's explore something together, and as long as we're both having fun and it's pleasurable for both of us, it's cool. There's so much pressure that's put on both partners, actually. And then like resentment creeps in and it makes the whole experience terrible. So I would say broach the subject with your partner. See, why they want to try this, and maybe you can come to an agreement.
Wendy.
Yeah, that is a fantastic answer. I think I it's if you're not comfortable with certain positions, that is definitely something to talk about. Because there are so many positions to choose from. If there's certain ones you don't like, you can pick something else. If you're not comfortable like using your strap on from the bottom, uh, maybe honestly watch a few videos, see if there's another angle that you might like. Maybe you can switch it up, compromise. But you're not going to get any definitive answer with that or any like traction, I don't think, without a conversation.
Well said. I do. Both of your answers are great. I just have the question about whether or not they're talking about bottom and top as in physical position or bottom and top as uh, dominance positions. And as a physical position, because I took it as a dominance position first. And again, the discussion, all the advice you've given has been great. As physical position, for the person receiving anal to be on top gives them a level of control that they wouldn't have normally. And for people who are experimenting with butt play or anal play for the first time, it is recommended that that they do be on top, just so they can control the speed and depth that is attained. But other than that, the answers that both of you gave was fantastic. So, boom. Here we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot about prostate play. So, hello, we've got more viewers now, and this is all right. Let's move on to the next question. All right. I was on the Cosmic Bonbons production show earlier tonight, the Cosmic Show, and we had this question. I think it's almost the exact same question. I think it was 8 years. How do I spice up my 8-year relationship and make things exciting again? First rule, anytime you're spicing up a relationship, don't use actual spices. I know they say put it on everything, but Frank's Red Hot, there's certain places it should not go. Just don't do that. At the same time, communicate with your partner. Since you've met, since you've been together over those 8 years, I imagine their fantasies have changed. And I imagine in 8 years, if you are with a person for 8 years, then there is a certain level of trust and honesty that should be between you. So discuss about your fantasies, maybe how to role play them out or how to engage them in the bedroom, or even just talking about them can be sexy. Just to have that little conversation. So take that time, learn about each other, and keep learning about each other and keep communicating. Galadriel.
I agree with what you're saying, and I think one thing that needs to be said is that you're gonna have to be willing to be vulnerable, which bizarrely is something that a lot of people aren't so willing to be with their partners, especially when you've been with someone for a long time and you know that person in a very specific way. But I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We share a lot of ourselves with our partners, even when we have long, very strong relationships that span years and years. But we still have sides of ourselves that we explore a little less, or show a little less, or like keep to ourselves a little bit more. And I think it can be so amazing to really open up with your partner, even if you've been together for a very long time. Like, be vulnerable. It's gonna be uncomfortable as all hell. Like, this needs to be said. It will be uncomfortable. It's gonna be awkward. But the payoff can be so amazing because you can get like a depth of connection that is emotional but also physical, and that like brings the surges that you probably haven't felt since the beginning of the relationship, where you're just like, oh, wow, this person. So really give it a try, and I think it's really worth it.
Boom. Well answered. Wendy.
I think all of the fantastic advice was covered, but the first thing that came to mind was dice. You know those dice that you can
Sex
get when you
dice.
go to the sex shop, or any other types of games you can play. It can lead to fun areas. But I definitely think a lot of the communication parts were definitely covered, so I love that.
I just give me a moment here. Just
Yes.
So also make sure that the dice is compatible to your relationship as well, because some dice that when you buy it are very heteronormative. If you are not heteronormative, then that is then you can find better dice. So there we go. Or mulligan a lot. Just mulligan. All right. The next question we have, you normally start at the bottom, but that is the same question we had first on the other side. So it's been 3 years since I've had a lover or boyfriend. How do I get out of this circle when I am a demisexual? Oh, Christopher Murtaugh is there. Hello, Christopher. Welcome.
Hi, Chris.
All right. And the question again is, it'd be 3 years since I had a lover or boyfriend. How do I get out of this circle when I am demisexual? So first up would be Wendy.
I think after 3 years, it's an important thing to be patient with yourself. I think getting back out there, for one, is a very intimidating thing for a lot of people. And after taking so long, getting to know yourself in hopefully a much deeper way, you can display that with the people that you're dating, and eventually you will hopefully find someone that you mix with really well. But to be honest, I am not fully versed on what a demisexual is, so if any of the next two people can also inform me as we go, I would love that.
Demisexual, to my understanding, is somebody who needs to have an emotional connection before they can have an arousal connection. So before they can have the feelings of lust, they need to have the feeling of connection, of love, and which is not a bad thing at all. Being upfront about being demisexual with people that you are dating would probably help, though you would have to kind of explain so they don't try to rush you. And by the way, anyone that tries to rush you into bed is generally not a good partner anyways. It should be a mutual rush when it's time to be a mutual rush. I would recommend finding somebody who has a shared passion so you can explore each other over this shared passion. And I know I've mentioned book clubs many times, but there's several different activities that you can get into if you like to volunteer at the local animal shelter or something of that nature, and meet somebody at Habitat for Humanity, etc. These are going to be people who that you will have something to chat with as you are developing whether or not you have feelings for them. And that would be my suggestion in that case.
I think these are excellent suggestions, and I would say if you're interested in going the route of dating apps, be like excessively upfront with what you're looking for. And that advice actually goes for like anyone going on any dating app. Be extremely clear in terms of what you want, and like filter heavily, because that's how you'll probably get the most like the best possible matches, where you're just like, this is what I want. I think it boils down to having extremely great boundaries towards yourself and others, saying, okay, I'm looking for this. If this is not what you're looking for, it's cool. We're just not going to, go down that road together. And this way you can have positive experiences. And, at the worst, you can maybe just like make friends who share fun interests. And I don't think anyone has like too many friends that share cool interests that, I've never seen that being a problem in life. Therefore, just focus on like creating a lot of connections, and be upfront, and like remember there, even though society might tell you that the way you're going about it is like out of norm, like who cares? You do you.
I hate the norm. Just to state, there's nobody who is perfectly the norm. Everybody has outliers in one direction or the other, and that is fine because we're humans and we're different. Wendy, did we fill in the blanks about being demisexual?
Yes, thank you.
All right. And the next question that we have here is, what do you do if you love your partner more than they love you, is what I'm imagining. That should be Galadriel.
Ooh, that's actually a heavy one. Ooh. I think it's like, regardless of the circumstances, I think it's extremely important to know what you want out of the relationship, and not, I want to say, not settle. I think that some people will stay in relationships because they really, really do love their partner who is not able to reciprocate, and they will settle to like literally getting less than they could get from a partner, just because they're so afraid of being alone or of having to say goodbye to that relationship. So get extremely clear on what you want. You can absolutely want to have a partner who loves you more than the universe, and if you're not getting that, it's unlikely that your partner is going to change, and that's really the hard pill to swallow. Yeah, I think I would leave it at that. Yeah, if you do feel that you love your partner much more than they care for you, maybe that's just not the right partner for you.
Wendy?
I do very much so agree. And I think that that's some of the hardest situations to be in. Not everybody can match your energy, not everybody can match the love that you can give, and not everybody is going to be able to give it in the same way that you do. And you really do deserve somebody who can totally fulfill you. Um, and it is hard to move on from people. But I think that sometimes that's important for growth, and growth never really comes from a comfortable place. So it's important to take the time and give yourself what you really deserve. Life is short. You need to make the most of it and find somebody that you really care about and who cares about you.
Boom. Both brilliant answers. Never accept disrespect from a partner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, however you are defining which one loves each other more, it should be taken into consideration, but never accept disrespect from a partner. Unless it's playtime disrespect, but that's, a completely different thing. Other than that, both the answers were given by Galadriel and Wendy have been fantastic, so I don't think I have much to add to that. It's let's take this on a little. Have you ever heard of the Reacher in a relationship? Are you familiar?
I am not.
No.
Okay, in relationships, occasionally there's always the Reacher and the secure. So there's one person who feels more secure in the relationship and one person who's sort of reaching. So it's usually the person who thinks they're dating someone above their station is the reacher. Now, I think in a balanced relationship that can turn back and forth about who is the reacher and who is the secure. But if somebody continually feels that they are giving more love than they are receiving, always, then that is not healthy. So. What do you think on the theory of the reacher and the secure?
It makes sense.
I think
I can see it.
I think the best relationships are one where both people think they're reaching.
Yes. Yes, I will agree with you on that. Yeah. when both people are reaching and then are just in absolute awe that their partner is with them, that's a really good setup.
Boom. All right. And we're ready for the next question. Dear Love Doctor, should I text the girl who asked for my number? Why are you asking me? All right. It's you who has to decide whether or not you want to. If they asked for your number, how do you have their number, first off? Second off, are you happy they got their number? Or did they ask for your number and then they texted you and offered you a great mentorship in cryptocurrency? Maybe you that's not what you're looking for from that number. You can avoid that. If you are interested in a person, be it for a friend or be it in a relationship or be it, just be upfront in what you want and what you expect from them or what you're willing to give of yourself, and let those cards lay. So if you're not interested in texting this person who asked for your number, that's okay. There's plenty of times. Let's just, okay, I'm assuming I'm heteronormative on this. This could be this may not be a hetero situation, but if a guy asked for your number and texted you, would you want to text back or not text back? It's the same situation. It all depends on what you want and how you feel about that person. Galadriel.
And then I will say, assuming that you happily gave that person your number and you have theirs and you're interested, like, forget playing it cool. And I think many of us from a young age were taught this like hogwash of like things you should do and you should like how to show your interest, but you're not like too eager and blah blah. Like, forget all of that. If you're interested in a person, just say so. If you have someone's number and you're interested to know them better, text them. And then take it from that. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can just be like, okay, well, I very much enjoyed meeting you. I would like to see you again. Boom. End of story. And then it's on them to reciprocate or not. And sometimes someone can be super into you for an evening and then, a couple of days pass and maybe they change their mind. That's actually totally fine too. It boils down to having good boundaries also. You're only responsible for yourself. But yes, like by all means, if you're interested in someone and they've shown interest, don't play games. Be upfront. And hopefully things will turn out for the best.
Very well said. Wendy.
Yeah, I think if you're in the situation and you ended up with their contact, yes, send them a text. It doesn't have to like be like something that's powered by any certain intention, but you know what, like just talk to somebody. You don't have to expect it to go somewhere.
Well said. Galadriel, you brought up something that reminded me. Games are for children, and you don't date children. I say that as a person who enjoys board games heavily, but that's an adult pursuit. You don't play games with emotion, and that's I highly agree with that. I also something I was trying to address, and I kind of slipped my mind as I was talking about it. There should be. I really dislike the gender norms when it comes to people who are, men have to ask out the girl or whatever. Why? There shouldn't be those rules in effect.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, if I can just add, like, if we go beyond the heteronormative, there's this big cliche among sapphic women of just like liking each other from a distance and no one dares to make the first move. If this is the case, just make the move. Make the move.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's a holdover from heteronormative society, like the societal impact and pressure on people, that good girls or girls do not make the first move. And I believe that has bled over into the Sapphic community as well. Am I completely wrong? Because I could just be white guy explaining.
I don't know if it stems from that, especially that there can be like ingrained things, or just so wanting to make sure that the other person likes you back before like trying to make a move because you don't want to be rebuffed, that like the person can literally like be extremely open about wanting to be with you, and you're just like, maybe I'm reading into it.
But that's okay. That's the same pressure that men are told to ignore. As we age and we're told about dating, and we're told to ignore, like if you see a signal, you're thinking it's a signal, it might not actually be a signal, but you should still ask them out, right? Or else you're forever alone. And yeah, let's not get into incels. All right, but any comments on what I just said? Because I don't think I should have the last word on this.
I can go ahead, but yes, if you like someone who's expressed their interest in getting your contact information, just reach out to them. And I like when Wendy said it doesn't have to be like a big thing with a specific intent, but just saying, sometimes just saying like, and even if it's in a friendly context, I enjoyed meeting you. Like no one dislikes being told like, hey, like I enjoyed meeting you. I think you're a cool person. It's a wonderful message to receive, and it's great to like send good stuff to people.
Boom! Everyone loves a compliment. That is English, I believe. How do you stay in love? How do you stay in love, Wendy?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think that when for me it takes a lot of work, and I'm still very much so on a journey where I'm learning how to stay in love with myself too. So I honestly, if I ever figure it out, I'll let you know.
All right. It's communicating. Let's be honest here. What makes a relationship work is work. There is no such thing as happily ever after. I cover this in the live shows quite often. I've covered this online here quite often. What makes a relationship work is work. Taking the time to communicate, be honest with each other, and when there is a problem, trying to discuss it and figure out solutions. At the same time, listening to your partner when they have complaints as well is key. If you're not willing to do that work, or you can only do that work, or your partner can only do that work, or partners can only do that work by being abusive or not truly listening to you, then that relationship's not working. How to keep in love is to foster the good feelings and grow the good feelings. Human beings are hardwired to remember the negative, because caveman would, or cave person would burn their hand in the fire and go, okay, I got to keep my hand out of the fire. I will really remember that. Whereas that flower smelled good, that's not going to be as prevalent a memory as the hand in the fire. So yeah, staying in love. Don't try to stay in love when the relationship is not working. You'll only hurt yourself and your partner at that point.
There's so many elements that I want to touch, but I love that you both brought out some very, very good points. I think, as Wendy said, like being able to stay in love with yourself the entire time is extremely important, because I think we often grow up with the expectation that relationships will fix us, relationships will complete us, and they don't. Like, I'll be very bold, they do not. They do not. Second hard truth, love doesn't last forever. and until you're willing to accept that, you're probably going to have a hard time of it. Also, if you're in a relationship for a long time, I mean, people change over time, people evolve. It's great when you're with a partner and you can both evolve in sort of a similar direction. It doesn't have to be exactly the same thing. If you're, both evolving, but still you like the other person and you like the way they're evolving, even though it's different from your own, that's amazing. But sometimes you'll just evolve apart, and trying to, just because you were in love with someone a decade ago and who they were then, does not mean that you get to stay in love with who they are now, and vice versa. So I think keeping all of these things in mind, this is when you start to put in the work. And you have to be willing to put in so much more work than we're led to believe. I often love to say that, sadly, like, love is not enough to keep a relationship working. So it's not just about being in love with someone. It's all the work that you keep putting in. How secure you are with yourself, how willing you are to deal with your own shit. And that can often mean therapy and working on yourself and deconstructing a lot of unhealthy patterns, unlearning so many patterns that you probably learned from your parents' relationship or previous relationships. It's a lot of hard work. It is absolutely worth it, but it's not easy. It's never easy, but the reward's going to be amazing. But you don't get a free ride, basically.
Very well said. Yes. I do believe that love can last a very long time if the people involved are willing to do the work. Whether or not they're synergistically evolving, or it's just the fact that they spend the time to make sure that they are being cautious and caring about the other people. And the comment has come in, this is not Chris, this is Chris's kid. Hi. And if I remember correctly, Chris's kids are above 18, so that's okay. Yes. All right. There we are. So I believe Chris is out of the country, possibly. So Chris's kid, with the evil laughter, apparently is taking over his father's account. And the next question we have is, what is your definition of great sex?
Ooh, I get to start. This is amazing. It can be so many things. Honestly, when you get the feeling that time just stops and you are so, like, no matter what happens, if you are so in the present moment with your partner, or like honestly with yourself, because sex is something that can happen solo, absolutely, then it gets to be really, really great, and you're focused on what is happening and on what all your senses are feeling, and like feeling actual pleasure. That is great sex. Beyond that, it can take any form possible. Honestly, again, it can totally be with like only yourself, and you can have an absolutely amazing time. It can be with as many partners as you want, as long as like everybody's very enthusiastic about their participation. But yes, I would say if it's like pleasure focused and consensual and happy, then it's great sex.
Boom. Well said. Wendy.
I think great sex is different. The definition of what makes great sex is different for everybody. But I think for me, what makes great sex is something that's memorable and that really takes you in the moment, and makes you feel like you are really experiencing the person, people, whatever situation you're in, makes you really feel like you're fully immersed in it. I think that would be great sex for me.
I love both the answers that were given. I believe this is another one that happened during the Cosmic Bonbon show. I would only add to feel that I was appreciated by my partners, and I'm appreciating my partners at the same time, or partner, or I forgot solo sex as well. So Galadriel is reminded there. It's always been a sort of a red flag to be having sex with somebody who is watching themselves in the mirror. just I just say, because then it's like, okay, I'm not really there. They're there to have sex with themselves, and I'm just a byproduct along the way. But that's my view or take on that. If that's not too large a take to give.
No, I think it's good. I have like such a specific situation that came to mind that I couldn't help chuckle. But yes.
And were they a worthy lover? Would you say?
I mean, it's fine. Okay, it was fine insofar as sometimes with consenting partners, some power dynamics can be interesting to engage in, even though, this is like the sex can be totally fine, but you sort of like what's happening anyway. Again, not my definition of great sex, but a situation that can still be enjoyed. But yes, being with someone who is heavily admiring themselves in the mirror can be really funny. I mean, it depends. Obviously, if you're feeling ignored, that's something, and that's like definitely a situation you should not be in. But if it's something that amuses you, and it's a situation that does not have much emotional bearing, yeah, you can be like me and laugh about it afterwards.
All right, to share probably too much. I was with an amazing person who, it's not that they were shy, but I don't think they felt the confidence that they should have. And I did use a mirror to stand with them, to watch them in the mirror, so they could see me as I saw them, and they could see themselves. So mirrors aren't necessarily a bad thing for sex.
Not at all. And I want to make that clear. Like, I actually do very much enjoy mirrors, but there's a difference between like, if you're with a partner and the mirror sort of adds to like both of your excitement versus literally someone admiring themselves, not their partner, in the mirror as they are performing.
Not that I've seen amateur porn where I see the guy flexing in the mirror as he's recording himself. Just
right.
Mm-hmm. There's a cringe. All right, we got my laptop was hijacked by Kieran. All right, by Kieran. Sorry. I don't know if that means Christopher has it back or not, but welcome to the Murtaugh family for their almost regular Sunday viewing time. And next question we have here is, I miss my ex and I want to get back together. How do I approach the subject with them? That's a heavy one. Yeah, and I'm in the hot seat, so I got to think fast with this. Look, it all depends on the nature of how it ended. If there was something that was bad in the ending, that needs to be addressed. If there was something that they did that was egregious, you need to really question, are they worth going back to? If you have done something that was bad, you need to be able to address and own that and find a way to get past that behavior. That's how you would approach the subject with them. And the thing is, in a relationship, it could be all three of those things. So think clearly and realize that depending on the length of how long ago a relationship ended, it could still be, they could have evolved past that. And they could be evolved past you or on down a different path than they haven't remained stagnant. Sorry, just to clarifying my words as I'm trying to think of them. They have not remained stagnant. They are maybe not the same person that you remember dating before. Be that a good or a bad thing, it's something that you need to address. Nostalgia is horrible for making us forget some of the bad things when we really, really want the good things.
I love what you said because yes, the reasons behind the breakup do matter so much, and how the relationship was. Also, it's going to sound extremely trite, but like, please give yourself a really, really good orgasm and then reassess.
Oh, mental clarity.
Yep.
I love that. I love that so much. I think that if you're missing them, maybe try to just like first evaluate why you want that relationship back, what you want back about it. And I really do appreciate, Love Doctor, what you said about they may have grown past it, because people deal with breakups in a different way. Just because you're still thinking about them in that way doesn't mean that they're still thinking about you. And I think that that's something you have to respect. And really consider why you're bringing that conversation up. If if you don't really have anything warranting you to reach out to them, if you haven't spoken in a long time, if the breakup's super fresh, you got to give people time, and you have to respect people's growth. And sometimes that's hard, but you will grow more because of it.
Boom. I think we covered that fairly well. Anyone have any last things? Okay. All right. Flipping back to the other side of the app, we've got how do I feel more secure with myself? How do I feel more secure with myself? Wendy.
Mindfulness and lots of self-reflection and lots of patience and self-love. And I know it sounds really easy to just spew it out in different words, but it's really a journey for everybody, and you have to be patient with yourself, and you have to know that you're worth the time and energy that you're putting in.
I really don't know how to feel more secure. I'm going to listen to Wendy's advice. All I try to do is be the best person I can be. Some people, when I'm in conversation with people, when I'm not on stage, I usually take a long time in conversations before I say something, because I want to think about it from several different angles. It's not that I'm not concerned with what's being talked about, but I want to make sure in my mind that I am clear about what I'm thinking. And I've never meant that disrespectfully, but some people take it that way. And some people try to shake my confidence over that. So I need to feel more secure in myself. Galadriel.
There are several things, but that sort of all overlap. I love what Wendy said. I would add to that, on top of everything that you can do on your own, like seriously, if therapy is something that is accessible to you, like forget the stigma, go for it. It is really life transforming. It's worth it, and you are worth it as a person. Some like little bits of wisdom that I can give. I remember reading years and years ago, and a really cool book. I forget the name of the authors right now, but it's called The Confidence Code. And it says something like confidence is not doing everything on your own, but it's knowing to ask what you need. And that blew my mind. That absolutely blew my mind. So sometimes reframing things as that really, really helps. And I will also say, I use the word boundaries a lot in every situation because it's kind of my thing. But I would like, encourage you, learn about boundaries, read about them. Like that's something that's accessible with like anyone with an internet connection. Learn what good boundaries are, how you can put them into practice, and that can go. It can make such a huge difference in how you feel about yourself, how secure you are in what you do in your relationship with others, be they personal, professional, any of them. It's life transforming and life affirming.
Can I ask for the name of that book again?
Yes, it's called The Confidence Code.
The Confidence Code. I thought you said GOAT. So the confidence greatest of all time. So,
that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Maybe harder to sell or to pitch to publishing houses. Maybe. I don't know.
All right. No, I've had a joke percolating in the back of my head about things. The chupacabra. Are you familiar with this cryptid?
Yes, I'm really wondering where you're going with that.
All right. Well, the name translates it as the goat sucker.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not proud of myself. The immediate thought comes with Kardashians, so I don't know. See, Wendy's disappointed in me too. I'm just, but there's just. All right, let's move on to the next question before I embarrass myself anymore. We are just hitting the hour. I want to at this point do a quick little thank you, and for people to kind of pay attention. Galadriel Caresse is galadriel.caresse on Instagram. Please follow them on Instagram to find out when and where they are performing next, as well as the fact that they are also an instructor at Arabesque, and they just did a sci-fi burlesque show 2 weeks ago, was it?
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago. And what is time? But yes, I do have a really much beloved nerdlesque act where I embody the Millennium Falcon, and it brings me so much joy every time. But yes, if you want to catch me on stage, actually, I'll be performing this coming weekend at the Wiggle Room. I believe there are still tickets left for the Friday night.
Boom. All right. Well worth. All right. And here is cosmic_bonbons on Instagram. Now you produce live shows as well as online shows on Instagram.
Yes, I do. And I have the next live cosmic show coming up in just under a month, which is very exciting.
Boom. All right, just under a month for the next one on Cosmic Bonbons on Instagram. We'll tell you, but you will actually air it on Cosmic Bonbons Productions. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, which I have been booted off live streaming for a little bit.
All right, Zucker. And here we go. Oh, sorry for anyone that was trying to ask questions. You could have always just gone to the Slido. The event code is TLD302. I don't think I mentioned that tonight. We still have a couple of questions to get into, but if anyone wants to support the channel, any money that comes in the next 24 hours will be split among all the performers you're seeing on stage here. And the way to do that is to donate to the link tree. So there's the link tree. It's going to run at the bottom for the rest of the show. It's linktr.ee/Paul Ash, my manager. The first link there is to buy me a drink, and that actually will be split among all three performers that you are seeing here. Time now for another question, and just back into the regular order. Is chocolate really fixed periods, or does she just want candy? Grammar. Glad.
Honestly, I think it's neither here or there. If your partner is craving chocolate during their period, then they should have chocolate during their period. I think that's it.
Safe answer.
Honestly, I don't know the science behind it, but I have heard that dark chocolate helps some people with their cramps. And if you have a craving, satisfy it in some way, shape, or form. So if you want the chocolate, get the chocolate.
Boom. I can't safely answer this other than to say, somebody wants something, let them have it. I mean, like as long as they're polite about it. Sorry, just if it's your body, then you have a say. Just putting that out there safely.
And if I might just add one thing, let's be mindful of the language we use around menstruation. Like I just noticed the person used fix. Periods are not a problem that needs to be fixed. It's just a biological thing. It's part of life. It's not something that needs to be fixed. I mean, granted, like if someone is experiencing pain, we do want to help them alleviate that, but like periods are not a thing that needs to be fixed. The end.
The end. Well said. All right. What could someone text you that would immediately make you hot? And I have the hot seat for this one. Some of it is very much dependent on the person, but thinking about you arouses me. Or I'm thinking of you. That's a kind of a good neutral starter, because you don't want to come across aggressive if you were trying to be flirting. But for me, if someone texts me, that would immediately make me at least more interested. Is the fact is they're concerned about my arousal state or how I feel sexually. And I would assume no one would send that without feeling some level of arousal themselves.
I find that it's a very interesting question because, as you said, it really depends on who is texting what to whom. For example, literally, my partner can text me "Hi." It's a running gag between the two of us, but it will give me an immediate response. If it's with like someone where there is a thing that's established, where there's some interest, there can be some like flirting, and everybody's cool with it, and it's not like some stranger of the internet. Because again, living as a female presenting person on the internet, there's a lot of things that can be texted and where you're just like, yeah, no, I don't know you, and I'm not interested in what's going on in your head right now. Like it's okay, like literally you can fantasize about me, but just like keep it to yourself. That belongs to you. Like that's a you thing, it's not a me thing. But assuming that it is someone with whom I have a rapport of some kind, yes, being told that they're really thinking about me, and maybe that they have thoughts of things they'd like us to explore together could elicit a positive response.
And Wendy,
tell me that you're making dinner. Just tell me that you've started dinner, and I am good. I am good to go. Simple things.
boom. Again, it's all in context. I'm aware of the tattoo, so I don't I don't think when Nan texted you that it was ever the same kind of feeling. But
oh my God, no! But I
exactly. So again, it comes down to who texted you. That's all right. That was just not too awkward. But again, it's contextual with who and the relationship that pre-exists. So yeah, it's a chance. All right. Next question we have a few more questions have come in. I'm really bad at sexting. SOS. All right. So another sexting question. What is this comes what is your suggestions, I guess, to improve this person's sexting? Wendy.
Oh my God. I feel like I don't have any expertise on the subject, but I'm just going to say details are everything. I think, yeah, if you can just give someone a good visual with some details, I think that's a good start. Ask them what they like. Ask them what they want to talk about. I don't sext.
People are different, so people are going to enjoy different things in sexting. So talk to them, focus on them a little bit, tell them about how you feel or how they make you feel. Those are good things to do. Wendy mentioned some people are visual, some people are audible. I've discovered that you can text a voice note to somebody, which, if you want to play with that, you can kind of play with that. That's an enjoyable thing for some people to get into. Again, this is all to be done with somebody who's consensually involved in receiving this stuff as well.
I'll also say, like, take the time to ask yourself why you want to become better at sexting. Like, why is this a thing that you want to attain? Also, I know that like a lot of people will try to resort to humor when things feel awkward because it's a very natural defense mechanism. That is something that usually doesn't translate really well in a sexy text conversation. So maybe avoid that. And also remember, like, if you're like trying to engage in texting and you're not sure how it's going, instead of wanting to absolutely like respond right away, I'm always a big fan when you're having significant like text conversations, whether they're like more racy or emotional. There's like this tried and true technique where you like text something, hit send, throw your phone away, go for a walk, or just go for a glass of water, so you're not just like too much in your head and things are spinning. So that can also be a good way, strangely enough, to train yourself to maybe be like slightly more forward. And again, this can be sexting, but it can be like disclosing like more vulnerable things where you're not immediately like spiraling down on like, oh my God, how do I react? How did, just like send it. And then how the person responds is their responsibility because, again, boundaries.
Boom. If there's one thing I could add to all of this, do it a sentence at a time, not a paragraph at a time. Right? Because if somebody's just seeing the three little dots, they go, did they just sort of throw their phone across the room and it's on, and I don't know if they're actually texting or if they're off playing Wordle or whatever, so they know that you are still involved. Just and a yes or a hi or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I will also add, I know it can be more difficult in these contexts, but like, please proofread yourself. That can alleviate a lot of awkwardness.
Yes. All right. I'm not going to embarrass myself with anything more, but here we go with the next question. I'm not confident in my ability to make someone orgasm. Where do I start? Galadriel.
Woo! That is not a simple one. Ask the person what they like. Like communication during, like seriously, even during sex is paramount. It's important, and like be aware that every person is slightly different. So if something works really, really well on a partner, like realize that it may not work at all on a different partner. So once that's established, just be communicative, make it playful. Read as much as you can too. Like it doesn't say from the person's writing like what their gender is and what their like partner's genders could be. I know there's a lot of, I'm gonna say mystery, but like it's sort of heavy and annoying at this point about like, but it's so hard to make women orgasm. It is not. I think it's been used as an excuse for generations to just take women's pleasure out of the equation. But again, this may be completely different too. But yes, just like read about sex, get interested in it. I find it so interesting that some people will like put a lot of focus on their other life interests, and like do a lot of research and be really, really into it. And when it comes to sex, they'll be like, oh, but I don't know. There are resources out there. There are like so many sexologists and like sex therapists and like just really good quality content, like sex positive, that will like that de-dramatizes everything, that can give you like very, very great information about sex and orgasms. I will recommend, if you're interested in reading a book, there's this amazing book called Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski, a worthy read for everyone. Like it explains so much about the science of sex and orgasms, but it speaks to you as a really intelligent person with a sense of humor. So it doesn't feel like reading this like big dry science book. So I will always recommend that book to everyone.
Boom. Sounds like a good one. We'll try to put links to the books referred to in the description of the YouTube channel or the YouTube episode. Yes, Wendy.
I think maybe focus less on the orgasm and focus more on having a good time. You'd be surprised at how hard it can be for somebody to have an orgasm while they're focusing on it. Maybe they might be like more focused on giving you the results you want than enjoying it and getting to the point that you're actually trying to get to. But getting to know yourself is great too. I think you can always be a better sexual partner when you know yourself better too. And yeah, like was mentioned, just check out all the resources. Like the internet is a wealth of information, but just be very, very cautious that you're not applying the same information to every single body, because everybody is different.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's all.
Very well said. I would also say, if you're doing research, porn does not count.
Nope.
A lot of what is shown in porn is wrong. The YouTube channel for us is here. I'm just putting that below me right now so people can subscribe if they're not subscribed already, and mentioning the link tree as well. You know what I have always been a fan of is asking your partner what they like. Everyone is different. Find out what they like. You know, with a new partner, to ask them, like, within the first 3-4 times you're intimate, just to ask them, can I watch you pleasure yourself? I don't normally have like a voyeur kink, but I use that as a learning experience to see, are they up and down, or are they circles, or are they, do they play with other parts of the body, or do they focus solely on genitalia? These things kind of help when you're going to be spending the time with them and going along the journey to an orgasm together. And now my voice has gotten very low, so I should probably take myself off the big screen.
But I'd like to come back on something that Wendy said, and I think it's like it bears repeating. We have to stop seeing sex as a race to orgasm, because it is so much more than that. And if we relieve the pressure of, not to make a bad pun, of like the orgasm being the one thing, and make it just about like having a very, very pleasurable experience with a partner, then it becomes something completely different. And I mean, orgasms can happen. Sometimes they won't, but it's great if it's not about like putting pressure on yourself and your partner to like make orgasms happen, but just like share a moment. And there is so much more to pleasure than just orgasms. They're like, what are the flavors? But there's so much more to discover and experiment with.
Very well said. That is our last question for the night. So I believe we'll be logging off. Normally the show would return in 2 weeks, but I will be out of town or in the midst of traveling when it would be time to have the show next week. So tune in, of course, on the week after, which will be the 4th of September. So the 4th of September will be the next Love Doctor live stream. And we do have a very special guest coming up. A professional sex therapist will be joining us in a few episodes. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I've had amazing guests tonight. Wendy Bonbons Galadriel Caresse. Thank you both for being part of this show. And of course, if anyone wants to see more of me, there is the link tree has the links to the Facebook page as well as the YouTube channel. But you could always check me out live and follow me on Instagram at the Love Doctor 1969, all one word. And the live show every Wednesday at the Wiggle Room. Show starts at 8:30, so I recommend get there for 8. Doors are at 7:30. Pick up dinner, come and eat the dinner while you're getting ready to watch the show. I'm the Love Doctor. I love you all. Thank you to both Wendy Bonbons and Galadriel Caresse.